The Pistons are the basketball champions of the world.
Detroit, it's time. It's playoff time, Detroit. Let's go to work.
Shout out Detroit. I got to buff up, you know what I'm saying? Detroit, I'm all the way in. Detroit Pistons, I'm all the way in. Let's do it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Buff Song Podcast. We are the best POD in the 313. We've been away for a while, but we're back. We got lots of Pistons news to cover. Summer League on the horizon. Free agency just finishing. We got 10 true or false questions we're going to try to base this pod based off of. So I'm going to hand it over to Valley. Valley, what's the first question you got for us?
Yeah.
Well, off
Sorry.
rip, sorry. Good to have you back, Amit.
Oh,
You missed a
thank
couple. We've been missing you on the pod. Good to have you back.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's good to be back. Good to be back with you guys talking Pistons hoop.
Yeah, great to have you back. And I guess this first one I didn't really have written down, but I just want to ask, I want to go over true and false, and we can go over kind of the off season through that format. And I want to start with Malik Beasley. And I guess this is a big question that ties in other people, but I want to ask you guys, glaring losses for the Pistons this offseason as we group here in this podcast. Most notably, we've just about lost Malik Beasley, Dennis Schroeder, Tim Hardaway Jr. My question to you all is
Simone.
and Fontecchio. Will the Pistons locker room feel the loss of Beasley, Schroeder, Hardaway, and Fontecchio?
Well, I'll start with this. If I was a betting man, I would have bet that you would have put Beasley at the topic we start off with here. But I think, yeah, it's definitely gonna be felt. I think not that the veterans we brought in Levert and Robinson are not gonna be good vet presences, but I feel like last year's squad just felt different. They meshed. It felt different. And someone commented on one of her posts, I feel like we lost a lot of aura. I think that's a pretty good way to put it. Beasley just had this energy about him that I don't think anybody is going to be able to duplicate. And watching Dennis Schroeder go off in the playoffs and just the confidence and the fun that it looked like he was playing with, I think we're going to miss that significantly. And of course, the Simone gesture, I think we're all going to miss that. But yes, I do think that we are going to miss the presence of those that we lost.
I'm really glad you said that, Amit, because I completely disagree. I've been having this argument with a lot of people, and I just think that a team's aura, a team's presence, a team's vibe is not built out of role players. It's built out of the core of the people there. And the locker room presence, all that stuff, I think is built out of the guys that are the core. It is the calm leadership of Cade Cunningham. It is like the brash youth of Jalen Dern and Ron Holland. It is the like dogged hardness again of Ron Holland and Isaiah Stewart. It's the freaking cool, calm, collected. You see nothing on his face. Desar Thompson. I think that Beasley did provide a great energy for this team, but I think it was built out of the core of guys that we have here because he's always been doing this throughout his career, but it never truly hit the same way until he hit the Detroit Pistons. And I think that is a product of being around this team. I think we're still going to see powerful Jalen Dern dunks and him and Isaiah Stewart doing the freaking elbow to elbow Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace handshake. I think we're still going to see like screaming dunks and the team up and rising. I think there's going to be some new fun celebrations that we haven't seen because we don't watch the Heat or the Cavs or the Pacers as much to see Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert. I think that new traditions, new celebrations, new energy will arise from this team with the new additions because I think it's built from inside out, from the best players out. And so I'm really not worried about this team's presence or aura being depleted with the loss of Malik Beasley, who we should say has not been found guilty on any way. He just has been found to be investigated and has some strange debts to certain people. But that does not mean he is guilty of sports gambling on the NBA.
Absolutely, absolutely. Nothing has been decided yet. Valley, Gabe, your thoughts on how we're gonna feel or not feel the loss of the veterans that we have swapped out this offseason?
Yeah, I think specifically in the locker room, as Valley asked, I mean, to have guys around, I think more even like Timmy, who's just like a kind of like a grown man amongst the kids that we have on on this roster. But they did just go through a playoff run. Everyone did mature together under like the leadership of those guys that we lost last year. So while I think they are gone, the teachings that they brought do remain. And I completely agree with Connie. Like they were there to teach Cade, to showcase what it means to be like a vet, to a responsible player, a leader to this team. And he already was that, but I'm sure he picked up so many things from those guys that we don't see that stays in the locker room. So I think these new guys coming in, they're also professionals. They work hard. They're older guys as well, but I think Cade is the guy. He sets everything. He sets the tone, and this locker room is set. It's secure. It's strong. I think the stuff that could mess it up is to bring a guy like Beasley back when we all loved the guy. We thought for sure he'd be back. But then when you bring in uncertainty, whether he is guilty or not, it's uncertainty. Whether he'll be able to play all those games is uncertainty. So just to have guys in who will play every game, who you know what they do, you know what they bring, and the rest of the guys on the roster, like they're built for it. We saw it last year. So yeah, I'm confident our locker room is sturdy, is strong. These guys still believe in each other, and of course we still have JB leading the helm here, and under him, nothing can ever really go wrong in a sense of camaraderie in the locker room.
Valley.
Yeah, I think having JB is still so important, and obviously, like you said, Connie, when it comes down to it, the guy spearheading all of this is JB, and it's Cade Cunningham. But there are just some things that I think you can't replace when you're losing Beasley. And one thing I want to note is you look at where we were at the start of the season last year. Obviously, coming off the season that we had with 14 wins, nobody really knew what to expect of us and our additions that we made. But you look at Malik Beasley, I think, for example, a character building moment for the team and a moment that really built team culture was he invited out the entire team to a gigantic birthday party for his birthday on the weekend.
How do you pay for that?
He took out some
I
loans.
think that's becoming more clear now.
He borrowed from his dentist.
Um, maybe the dentist was invited to the party.
Might have been.
But just, actions like that that bring the team together. The constant belief, that shit talking that Beasley would provide on the court. It's he does that knowing he has the backing of his teammates, knowing that he's creating everybody has their own back. That he's playing a role in building this culture. So I'm not gonna lie, like for me, alarm bells are there for the culture that won't be there. But I think what this situation with Beasley will eventually lead to is it's going to lead to our young guys. And quite frankly, every single person on this roster is going to have a step to take in terms of leadership, in terms of culture. I'm not talking about basketball ability and making threes. I'm talking about the roles that these players and coaches and faculty are going to have to maintain that culture, to carry that culture over and sustain that really amazing basketball culture we built. And when it comes down to it, I think all eyes are going to be on Cade Cunningham to take that leap. We look at him as a mega teammate. A guy who only wants the best for his teammates and his peers. So I'm really going to be looking at Cade to see how much he can lead that development. But I kind of want to go into my next true or false, which will kind of tie into what we could maybe see in terms of a different aspect of the culture, because I think Cade will help carry this over, but you do have new faces coming in at the same time. And I just want to ask a very simple true and false question. I'll do the same for Karras, but it's as simple as this. Duncan Robinson was a good signing. True or false?
True.
True.
Also true.
I mean,
Does
I
anybody, well, before we just go into the discussion of his contract, does anybody have the team option news on Duncan Robinson and what's guaranteed and what's not guaranteed? Because I do think it is worth mentioning it's a very team-friendly contract, because I think some people are put off by the initial 3-year 48 that he signed for in that sign and trade.
uh, so there's no option on it. It's just a straight 3 years. Um, and the only thing that's guaranteed is the first year.
Mhm.
Right,
Or
that's what,
sorry, he's guaranteed It's 16.8 million, and on the contract is guaranteed 18.8 million.
Okay. But overall, the Duncan Robinson signing, I want to hear more as to why you guys think it's beneficial to this team, why you think it's true that this was a good signing. I quickly just want to know a point I want to make with the players we are bringing in, and I forget it was Gabe Recon who just touched on it. We haven't seen Karras and Duncan because we haven't watched their teams play 82 games of basketball in a season. I feel like Duncan is a very unique looking guy, you know. I just think that his style, the way he plays the game, he has an opportunity to become a fan favorite immediately, which could just unlock another pocket of culture and camaraderie with this team. And I think that's something that we have to acknowledge with players going out, players coming in will bring some sort of culture and camaraderie themselves. But I mean, let's start with you and more reasoning as to why you think that this Duncan Robinson 3-year 48 sign and trade is beneficial to the Pistons. Why it's good.
I really like this because as great as Hardaway and Beasley were, I think Duncan Robinson is a much better playmaker than they are. The pick and rolls that he ran with Bam, the reverse pick and rolls that he ran with Bam, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that here with Jalen Duren. I think Robinson is going to love playing with Jalen Duren with the screens that he's going to be setting and the free space that he's going to get. And I can't wait for Duren to and I think Duncan Robinson's a great cutter, so I'm really excited to see if we can space the floor a little bit more and give Robinson room to cut, have Duren hit him on the cuts. There's just so many aspects to Robinson's game that, again, as great as Beasley, Hardaway, and Fontecchio were, I think he's going to bring something a little bit different, and it's going to be he just doesn't rest, and I think it's going to be really exciting to see somebody like that on the team, always moving, always going. You're going to be focused on Cade, but then at the same time, Cade's going to have, of course, Robinson kick out option, 40% on catch and shoots. I want that a little bit better, but 40% is not bad by any stretch. So I'm very happy to see Duncan Robinson here. Of course, Michigan man. So replacing, if you want to replace Tim, you want to replace with another Michigan man. So there's a ton of aspects to Duncan's game that I'm excited to see pan out here when he's playing with Jalen Duren and Cade here in Detroit.
What do you think about his overall point production, and where do you compare that to Beasley? Because Beasley, we call him sneaky athletic. You know, he would
Yeah,
hop in for a couple of dunks every now and then. He would venture off the dribble as much. I'm not as familiar with Duncan Robinson's game. I do know that 81% of his career field goal attempts are three pointers. Where do you just see do you see it being less than Beasley's 16 or so a game, or do you see it around a similar field? Like where do you see the point production from Duncan Robinson?
I think that depends on how many shots that he hits. I think,
Really?
yeah, um, just to say, I think his point production might be a little bit lower because Beasley kind of took the next step when Ivy went down. So Beasley maybe got a few more shots than he otherwise would have if Ivy had been healthy all year. So I don't know if Duncan's going to be at the same level, but I do think he's going to get 8 to 10 shots a game at a minimum, and just again, it depends on if he hits those, if those numbers go up or down on the 16. But uh, just on the safe betting on the safe side, I would say probably less than 16, but that's just because so many other guys are going to be doing so many other things.
Gotcha. Gabe, you want to elaborate on Duncan Robinson's impact here?
Yeah, and you mentioned his 3-point numbers. He almost exclusively takes threes, but he does have more of a off the dribble game, not necessarily into the pull-ups or the floaters that Beasley had. He does get to the rim pretty well. But he's a great lob thrower. He's a great passer when he does drive. And you mentioned that catch and shoot percentage. I think it's kind of a product of playing on the Heat. Like they didn't really have a point guard, and now he's going to be playing with Cade and Ivy. So I do expect that number to go up and those attempts to go up because he will just get more open looks off movement, off screens, off just Cade's gravity. Where I think he will just get more open threes. Um, I think he's going to score maybe around 12 points a game, maybe less, but be efficient at it. And I do think there's a world in which he sneaks into the starting lineup, just because I do think he's a good all-around player. And, if Tobias takes a step back, if Asar is just like struggling to shoot, even though his offseason looks really nice, I could see Duncan Robinson being a starter because he does have that skill. And you mentioned it as well. His two-man game with Bam was exceptional. He's great at working off his screen, off his movement. Both players able to pass, and that's just going to translate super well with Jalen Duren, I think. So I'm really happy to have Duncan. I wanted him 2 years ago. I wanted him last year, and I think I might see him around Ann Arbor sometimes if he does pop in, in the off season to some local staples here.
Absolutely. And I want to correct myself. I did have the 40%. So I'm just going to read where I had this out of my head. It's 39% on three pointers, 6.5 3-point attempts per game, 40% on catch and shoot three pointers. So I did have that correct. 36% on guarded catch and shoots, 45% on open catch and shoots, which is the number that I thought I was stating, but I wasn't. So 45 is a great number. 39% on pull-up three-pointers and 47% on floaters. So there's a lot to his game that I think will be, like you said, unlocked with him being a product of on the Heat versus now on the Pistons. So, Connie, your thoughts on Duncan?
Yeah, I mean, my main thing when we got Duncan was like, oh, he's gonna get the Cade Cunningham boost. The Cade Cunningham boost of putting the ball exactly where the shooter wants to have it. The Cade Cunningham boost of creating so much gravity downwards where I think he will get a lot more open threes on the Pistons than he got on the Heat because I mean, over the past couple years after they lost Jimmy, the not the Pistons roster, the Heat roster uh was kind of tough looking, and I think if it wasn't the Miami Heat, they wouldn't win very many games. But I think he just will get easier shots on this team. And two other things I want to note. One is that I think he's a better positional fit for this team. Him and Beasley are both great shooters, but Bees is like a guard. He just is a guard, and Dunk is like a legit 6'7", 6'8" and can fill more in that wing role, which I think allows him a lot more space to play with Cade and Ivy. Whereas if you put Bees out there, you just are running out a pretty small lineup. And you could even play him at the two and just create like a supersized lineup where your smallest guy is 6'6" and Cade Cunningham, which would be crazy. So I really love the fit here. I think he's going to excel. I think, yeah, he can do a little bit more than just toss the three-pointer up, and I'm excited to see that. But something else I want to note is that this man has great basketball roots. I mean, it seems he is a grinder. He started off in D3 basketball, and made a name for himself there so that he could get to one of the most illustrious basketball programs in college basketball, getting to Michigan. And then from that, his entire career has been molded in one of the most creative, unique, and hardworking programs in the NBA, in the Miami Heat. So, if we go back to our last question about culture, I mean, Heat culture is like literally their slogan. I think he's going to bring a great, uh, not only offensive intelligence, like being able to find cracks, find creative ways to score, but also bring that same sort of heat level work ethic to the locker room. Like he's a white shooter, but he also has some dog in him, some work in him, and I'm really excited to see him on this team.
Quick to that. Could I add real quick to the culture part? I saw a Pistons fan ask the Heat Reddit what we should expect from Duncan Robinson, and they just said every day is his birthday. A bunch of people repeated that. I'm not sure at all what it means, but maybe that's a thing we'll catch on to pretty soon into the season.
Very excited to have Duncan here. I will say that.
Um, and just to wrap up with Duncan, I think you talk about the positional fit. I think as a pure off-ball mover, I almost think his movement is savvier than Beasley's. I think he's just because he's made a career solely off moving off the ball. And I think that's all when you read off those percentages, I mean, yes, they're good percentages, but maybe they're like to the average listener, they're not like knock your socks off kind of percentage. I think you have to take into account the difficulty of shot he's taking a lot of the time.
Hmm.
Like, coming curling off screens, rising up when you're on full sprint, like he takes difficult shots and he makes difficult shots. But I think just overall from a fit perspective, I think his off-ball movement could actually end up really benefiting us more and benefiting Cade Cunningham more. Go ahead, go
And
ahead.
sorry, last thing, and then we can speed up these questions. The Heat have made trips deep in the playoffs. Duncan Robinson has been part of that. He is a proven playoff player, a playoff shooter. So yeah, Beasley not necessarily. So maybe that's an upgrade as well.
Finals in the bubble, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Real quick, Gabe. I found a Reddit thread from 2 years ago. Why do we say happy birthday to Duncan Robinson all the time? And a response is because he went off on his birthday during the Bucks series. Since everyone wants him to play like that all the time, they just wish him happy birthday all the time.
All right, I love
Well,
that.
happy birthday, Duncan Robinson.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Not
Uh,
much more uniqueness in this next one. Just checking off the next big name with the contract that we gave Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert was a good signing, true or false?
True.
True.
Again, true. This guy, yeah. I'll start us off here. I really like this. I think he's more of a point guard than people realize.
Hmm.
Not a primary ball handler by any means, but with Ivy and Cade on the team, he's the perfect tertiary guy. Keep one on the court at all times. Then you put Levert there, second side action. He can move the ball. He can pass. He can find the right man. And he's a good scorer. He's a good NBA player. I think it's like we saw these past years when you add good NBA players, good things happen. I don't necessarily think he's a shooting upgrade over Timmy and
Mm-mm.
Schroeder, which is kind of the guys he's replacing, but a solid vet, good player. He can average again like 12 points a game on decent efficiency. Um, yeah, he's good. The only thing is he gets injured a lot, but we have the depth, I think, that it won't matter too much. Just happy with the signing.
He's certainly
Agree.
not a bad shooter, but it's definitely not his main thing. I
Yeah.
love that he has like ball handling and creation abilities because we're losing that with Schroeder in the second unit. I mean, we're gaining it back with Ivy, but being able to be, again, yeah, like you said, always keeping a ball handler or two on the court, taking some pressure off, creating his own stuff. And he also seems like the type of guy. Similar to Tobias Harris, which I loved, which was like when things get tough and things get crunchy, you could always sort of rely on a Tobias Harris mid-range fadeaway or just something like that
He
just to
gets
get
shot.
a point on the board. Like Harris is a guy that will, yeah, just like, create shots. It's like jazz within, like you have like a melodic strum that is your regular offense, like just a constant beat, right? But every once in a while that gets messed up and you just need a little bit of jazz, like a couple random notes to flow in there and just to put a two in every once in a while when either the other team's on a run or the game is just tough and a defensive game and not a lot of points are being put up. That this guy can hit a cross contested mid-ranger or some dumbass shot will just, I think, be a nice addition to just pepper in every once in a while.
Agreed. I pretty much agree with everything you guys said. Not much more to add. I do not think he's an upgrade over Beasley or Hardaway but maybe Fontecchio, but or in the ball handling department, definitely not Schroeder. But yes, as a guy that can be your secondary, tertiary ball handler when needed. I mean, we're gonna have a lot of guys that are gonna be able to, initiate offense. JD, Cade, Ivy, Asar, Karras. And Duncan's even brought the ball up a few times for the Miami Heat, so who knows if he'll be doing that here. But again, I don't think he's a shooting upgrade, but definitely think he provides. I think we maybe didn't improve in the shooting department this offseason, but we definitely improved in the versatility standpoint. Just to read off Karras's numbers, just for numbers' sake: 35% on catch and shoot, 40% on pull up threes, 39% on pull up
Whoa.
twos, and 52% on floaters.
Do you
So
have a volume number for those
I
pull-up threes?
I do not.
I'm gonna
No.
look it up
Yeah,
because
look it up.
40% on pull-up threes is bananas.
That is bananas. So, like you said, little extra strum in the step. Maybe that's the next go-to move if Tobias fadeaway is not working. So who knows? And always threes are fun. Threes are good. More points than two. Common sense 101 on today's pod. If you want to score points, make shots, and three is more than two.
Yeah, I think I don't know, like off watching Karis LeVert in the last few seasons, I think he's being someone overlooked as a shooter. Not saying he's a great shooter, but I think when you look at Dennis Schroeder and the impact Schroeder had in his 3-point shooting, his shot wasn't entirely there with his span of the Pistons. So I think that there's definitely a room that Karis LeVert can come in and have somewhat of a similar replicate as to what Schroeder showed us from downtown. But I think, yeah, the flexibility that comes with LeVert is nice because I don't think he's a designated point guard. I don't think he's a designated off-ball guard. I think he can kind of fill in 1 through 3, which, like you said, is not a like-for-like replacement with Schroeder, but what it is the versatile replacement, and it is a different kind of offense. He's a very energetic off the bench, has the opportunity to give you 15 a game every single night he comes off the bench. He'll do it in different ways than Beasley. It'll be kind of a mix of Beasley and Schroeder. I feel like, he's a guy who
Mhm.
has creation, a guy who has a bit more size on him and is pretty dang athletic. But yeah, definitely had the same reaction as you, Connie, when you said that 40% off the three-pointer. That's a very, very impressive and a good number to hear.
Yep, Connie, before you jump into the numbers, right, real quick, two more things. Yes, we talked about all last season how we want to add a little bit more size. Connie, you touched on it with Duncan being legit 6'7", 6'8". Karras also 6'6". So size increase for sure. And I had one more note on Karras. I forgot it. But anyway, you got your number, Connie?
Yeah, so he shot 40% on 44 pull-up threes last season. For reference, Dennis Schroeder shot 29%, shooting 22 of 76, and Malik Beasley shot 35%, shooting 48 of 138. So the volume is pretty low on those pull-up threes, but I mean he hits them.
You hit them. I mean, even if he hits 35, right, 35%, then technically you're not losing anything compared to what Beasley was doing. Okay, on the
Sure.
pull-ups, just on the pull-ups, on the pull-ups.
Yeah, I mean the volume is less, but
Yeah, I'm saying if his volume increases, because it's probably going to.
and then unfortunately, if we go to the season before last, he shot 70 pull-up threes and 28%.
Okay, we're not going
So
to talk about that. Last year was a career year.
I don't think we're like fooling ourselves into thinking Karis LeVert's going to be some insane three-point shot maker, but
Right.
he is going to be a bucket getter.
Yep, and the other thing I just remembered is Trajan did mention that he thinks Karras can guard 1 through 3, so that goes into my point of us being a little more versatile than we were last year.